Siskiyou Media Council, the host of public access television stations YCTV4 and MCTV15, is proud to introduce our new monthly news show, Inside Siskiyou, Real News, Real People, Real Close. The vision of this county-wide news show is to help unite Siskiyou County by having community reporters from every town, community, and Indigenous tribe deliver the news of the people, for the people, and by the people. As we begin this journey, we ask for your understanding and support, as these brave community reporters are people just like you who are learning the ropes as they go. Now, there are several ways you can help get this project off the ground. Watch each monthly show on Northland Cable Channels YCTV4 and MCTV15, or on our website at www.siskiyouMediaCouncil.org, where you can watch the live channel or on video on demand. Help us get the word out. Talk to your friends and neighbors. Post it on Facebook and Instagram. Let everyone know in Siskiyou County that we finally have our own televised news source. Get involved. Don't see your community on the news? Become a reporter for your area. Contact us. Let us know that you want to help. Donate. The perfect opportunity is December 3rd, North State Giving Tuesday. On that day, we will be hosting a live stream 14-hour telethon. Watch live on Siskiyou Media Council's Facebook page. Tune in and see your talented Siskiyou neighbors. Public access is only as good as you want it to be. It's up to all of us to make it a success. On behalf of Siskiyou Media Council, I want to thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoy this debut of Inside Siskiyou, real news, real people, real close.
Inside Siskiyou, real news, real people, real close.
You can drum down the flowers around my grave, they'll rise blue, they'll rise and bloom again, while these faces are burning down.
Hi, I'm Shireen Strauss, and I'm the community reporter for McLeod.
My name is Scott Embry. I am currently the board president of the River Exchange, which has been housed here in Dunsmuir, California for 27 years. Standing next to me is Chris Stromsness.
Hi, I've been on the board for a long time. We could be more effective and get more done if we got more members who just join River Exchange, and the be even better if we got more board members. So get hold of.
So we are actively seeking board members. This is the 27th year of the Sacramento River Cleanup. Last year we gathered over 2,000 pounds of trash from the upper Sacramento, from Lake Siskiyou down towards Sims. We have gathered this morning over 350 pounds, plus an entire pickup truckload of old tires that were brought in. We had 8 to 10 young students from COS that are part of Dr. Cassie Hansen's environmental class that came and helped us register volunteers. It's been a beautiful day, and our success is owed to the fact that we have volunteers come out every September.
Give a contact.
We can be reached at the River Exchange. Our contact, let me look here, is riverexchange.org on the web. Go to our website, look at all the events that we sponsor in the public schools. We need your help to keep the Upper Sacramento River clean and pristine. It is a blue ribbon trout stream, and we want it to be kept that way for the future generations.
Here, the first weekend of November, McLeod hosted a bunch of guest speakers for their first mountain talks. It's very inspirational, like the TED Talks. They have local and speakers from as far as Martha Vineyard here to talk on different variety of subjects. If you want more information about this, you can go to the McLeod Chamber office. You can go to their website, and they'll probably have everything, but they're expecting to have many more of these series of mountain talks in the future.
And people talk about, well, what are your bees bringing back? And I always say, they didn't check in with me to tell me what they're harvesting right now. The other thing that has come up for me is that we tend to make decisions, and very emotional decisions, based on incomplete information. So you'll see articles or you'll see posts on Facebook that's saying something really inflammatory, and they refer to a research article. And so somebody will repost that and have this very opinionated comment. And the truth of the matter is they didn't click on the link to the research report, because if you do, a lot of times the reporter who originally wrote the article will take one comment out of a research paper and use it out of context to fill an agenda. So I highly recommend, when you see those types of things, to follow up and dig deeper, because there's a lot of misinformation and there's a lot of stuff that are based on fear tactics.
And the estimated global revenue for antidepressants for the year 2020 is projected to be nearly $17 billion. So, globally.
I was a medic with a special operations counterterrorism unit in Afghanistan. I think most of us look forward to deploying just because we knew there'd be some downtime, and we knew we might get a chance to see combat. When you train day in and day out to go and kill terrorists, the worst thing that can happen to you is that you don't actually get a chance to do that.
But I wanted to welcome you to Mountain Talks, and our special guest today is Anna Eddy, and she's the author of Solviva and Solviva Green Light. And we used to have a bookstore downstairs. Actually, Gloria Duffy was one of the partners. There was like 3 or 4 ladies, and one of our best-selling books was Solviva here, and this was like 10 years ago. Yeah. And I remember picking it up, well, what is this book everyone keeps wanting to get? And there was a lot of the people that lived off the grid at Mount Shasta Forest.
The chickens are supremely easy. Very deep bedding system, just keep pouring in leaves there every week or so. Plunging down with a fork every couple of days, just plunging in the pitchfork, rocking it, plunging it over there, rocking it, plunging it over there, rocking it. That way you introduce air as opposed to just it getting more and more compact, more and more anaerobic, more and more smelly. But if you add the oxygen and then you add the carbon in the form of leaves and sawdust sometimes too, it was sweet to walk in there. No bad smells at all.
I was still the president of this nonprofit group, the Conservancy, responsible for helping and supporting the development of the park. I found out who the law firm was. It was then called the Natural Heritage Institute, a public interest law firm in San Francisco, now called Water Power Law, that was threatening suit. And I helped get together the players, the water district and the environmental groups, in a collaborative dispute resolution process.
Hi, this is Bet reporting from northern Siskiyou County in the community of Hornbrook, California. This is where the Klamathon fire happened in July of 2018. 82 structures burned during the Klamathon fire, including the Hornbrook Community Association building, which is just beyond this sign here. The Hornbrook Community Association, which was the old Hornbrook Grange, which was built sometime in the early 1920s. If you take a look over this way, if you could come over this way, Pat, I just want to explain a little bit where we are. This is, over here is the Interstate 5, so we're in the Interstate 5 corridor here. And if you look back this way, this road right here beyond the sign here is the old Oregon Trail. The old Oregon Trail that you've probably heard about, the Wagon Train Oregon Trail. And this other road that goes in front of where the old Hornbrook Grange used to be is the Main Street, which actually used to be the old Emigrant Trail that runs on the northern bank of the Klamath River. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some things that have changed in Hornbrook since the fire. Some things have changed for the better, and some things are not quite up to par, but we're affirming that things will be better for us in the future. I'd like to show you how the community is coming together. It's a very positive story. I'd love to share it with you. The historic Grange building was built in the early 1920s and was built on the site of the old Keystone Bar pictured here in a photo from the Siskiyou County Historical Museum. The old community building was the only public meeting place in Hornbrook when it burned down in the Klamathon fire. Local resident John Brummel, who lived behind the Grange, died in the fire, and the community's water reservoir was also destroyed. So the unincorporated town of Hornbrook was met with challenges. Since the fire, the Hornbrook Community Association has gathered the public together for community meetings at the school, potlucks in the park, community cleanups, a Klamathon fire homecoming block party, and other social gatherings at Cottonwood Pizza.
Sitting on a bar stool, kinda short and kinda square, through the foam in his mustache, his voice filled the air, talking about a state of mind, son, talking about the state of Jefferson, settles in your soul.
Yes. This is the third open mic night at the First and Last Chance Saloon.
Technically, it's the second open mic night. The first one was a performance by Ed Evangelista and Joe the Marine. So our first open mic was really last month, so this is only our second one. Yeah.
So what do you think's coming out of this? What are you surprised about?
Well, this month, I don't know anyone in there, which is really surprising. Last month it was pretty cozy and local. We knew most of the people, but this month we have way more activity. It's impressive what word of mouth can do.
Where you live?
Hello, my name is Brandy Hammond. I live here in Hornbrook, California. We are new residents. We've traveled a lot of places. Long story, but I've done a lot of music in a lot of different areas of California, Texas. But we moved here to be closer to my older son, and we came in here one day and she was talking about open mics, and I said, hey, I sing. And a couple weeks later, she was letting me know that somebody was starting one once a month, and I thought, this is what this community really needs right now is the the common good, to pull together, because they've been through so many things, and you could feel it. When we moved in, we could feel that, this town had really been struggling to pull itself together, and we're not giving up, and we've been here a long time. And that's the kind of communities I like to be a part of, the kind of communities where people pull together.
It brings people out of their little shells and their little worlds that we're all afraid of, and it kind of puts you in a very uncomfortable place to help the community grow.
Yeah. And since our first Friday, have you seen any change or any growth since our first Friday open mic, or how do you feel?
I have seen neighbors that I have never seen before come out tonight.
Am I your neighbor?
Are you? You are my neighbor. Beth behind the camera is one of my neighbors that I have not previously met before. So it's nice to meet new neighbors, and it's going back to the beginning of our country. I mean, the tavern was a place for the community to come together, and so coming together at open mic and meeting your neighbors and strengthening the community, it can't hurt.
And Joe, there's amazing artists out here. I would, obviously definitely recommend people come out first of the month, bring their talent, bring their ears.
Well, everyone's really excited to see live music. We've already had a metal band play, which I was surprised how many people were excited about that. But we're doing a little Halloween, and now we have another local musician playing original songs right here, and people are excited, and it's our list is growing, so that's fun. Well, the Hornbrook Community Association sponsored this project after the fire to talk about how we could rebuild our town. So Healing Hornbrook, the conversation is enormous. What are our problems as a small rural community that was suffering even before a fire? And now we need to learn how to rebuild together in something that is involving everyone and is inclusive in all ways.
So what is it like getting different groups of people together? How does that feel?
Really natural, frankly. Like, we all do live in the same place and have same similar stories of how we got here and what we want to see for our future. And that was what was really surprising, is that we did come up with goals. Overall, we decided we want a clean, vibrant, safe community. And with those three things, we've been able to start different initiatives for our town that people can get involved in, and that's been really successful.
The Klamath River and Cottonwood Creek flow nearby the town of Hornbrook. Hornbrook is fortunate to have water. However, the community's water system, although functioning, is not without issues, since the covered holding facility still has not been repaired since the Klamathon fire. To repair the facility, Hornbrook's local water board will need 2 new members to be elected this March of 2020. Candidate requirements are to be a registered voter in the service area of Hornbrook Community Services District. Applications are available at the Siskiyou County Clerk's Office in Wairika. This has been Bette Peterson reporting from Hornbrook for the Siskiyou Media Council.
Hey everyone, this is Sarah Montgomery with the Siskiyou Media Council, community reporter for Weed, California. I am here today at the Mount Shasta Brewing Company in Weed, where we will be attending a comedy show that is being hosted here this evening. I hope that you enjoy hearing a little bit from Cody and James, and please be sure to follow the Mount Shasta Brewing Company's Facebook page for any future comedic events that they may have. We look forward to seeing you here.
Thank you so much, Cody. We just got done finishing the end of your set here in the Mount Shasta Brewery. So tell me a little bit about your tour that you are going at with James.
Well, our tour that we're going at with James is a...
Sorry, that was a terrible question.
It's a month. We've had a tour for a month throughout the Pacific Northwest. We were coming from the South Dakota, all the Dakotas, that area. and then we hit Washington, and we're working our way south to LA for our Hollywood improv show.
Okay, so what is at the end of the road with the improv show? What does that entail? Who's going to be there?
Well, we did have Todd Glass and Tim Dillon booked, but they got busy. But we're going to have some big names because it's Los Angeles. It's going to be our big production.
Okay.
Might shoot a special there.
Okay. Great. And so tell me a little bit about your background and how you got into comedy.
I wanted to do comedy since I was like 5. Used to watch a lot of Eddie Murphy and Jim Carrey.
Okay.
And then I wanted to do it professionally. I already knew it when I was a kid. And then I started when I was 17. I am 31 now.
Okay. So any words of wisdom or anything you'd like to share for somebody, the 17-year-old kid that's watching this right now, thinking that this is something they may want to do? Any words of expertise or advice?
Learn the old school advice too before social media. Write a lot. Go on stage a lot. That sort of isn't really being communicated a lot nowadays. Now it's teaching young comics to get on social media. It's the most important thing in the world, social media, for you. But don't forget about the old school advice of writing every day for at least an hour. Go on stage every day if you can. So.
All right, Cody, where can we find you?
CodyJWoods.com and RollingGreenroom.com.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit how you got started in your career with comedy.
How did I get started with my career in
Yeah.
comedy? I was a bartender at a comedy club in Columbus, Ohio, at the Funny Bone Comedy Club.
Okay.
And I was like, I think I can do this. So I started doing stand-up, and then a year and a half later, I moved to New York City. Lived in New York City for 5 years, and then...
Just working in the city?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I sold engagement rings for a little while, just odd jobs, but mostly doing open mics and bar shows and stuff. And then started doing road comedy. And then about this year started my own tour with Cody Woods from Comedy Central, the Rolling Green Room, which is us. It's a 33-foot diesel motorhome that I live in, and we both tour out of it. It's just me and him. And we put on shows in mostly breweries, wineries, rock clubs, bowling alleys, any place that doesn't typically have stand-up.
Okay, cool. Okay, so tell me how you and Cody met.
We were both auditioning for the same, believe it or not, the same Funny Bone that I used to work at as a bartender.
Mm-hmm.
We were both auditioning at that club on the same night, and became friends.
Okay, so it's just like a natural...
Yeah, we both passed, meaning we both succeeded in the audition.
So you're both funny.
Yeah, which is, it was actually pretty rare for two people to pass in the same night. And
Okay.
we did. And then we did a lot of road stuff together.
Okay. What is your YouTube channel?
The Rolling Green Room.
The Rolling Green Room. Okay, where else can they find you?
At Green Room RV on Instagram, on Facebook at the Rolling Green Room.
Okay.
And
So tell me what kind of, what advice would you give to anybody who's looking to potentially expand their wings into the comedy realm?
just do a lot of open mics. Like a lot of open mics.
Okay.
And then if you're good,
bigger things will happen.
People will pay you.
All right. Cool.
It's good, right?
Yeah, that's good. All right. Thank you, James. Thank you so much for coming here today, Katie. I am very happy to have you here and discuss the Adopt a Family for the holiday program that you've been running. So if you could just tell me a little bit about it by starting with how long you've been doing this.
So I started this program about 3 years ago. It's kind of a branch off of my big one that I've been doing for about 10. I started the other one 10 years ago. It's called Adopt a Family or Adopt a Child for School. And that kind of led me to finding a need for food and other resources that a lot of our families don't have.
And so tell me a little bit about your day job that you're doing, because you're working hand in hand with these families, I assume.
A lot of them, yes. And actually I do all of Siskiyou County, and we have a ginormous county. I am a preschool teacher, and I volunteer a lot in my children's schools. So There is a lot of programs in Siskiyou County for below poor or poverty, or however you want to word that, but they don't look at the next step and where those families are falling to the cracks. So instead of helping these families stay above, they're kind of pushing them down into the trenches also. So with this, we are looking at families, moms and dads that work and working 2-3 jobs just to make ends meet, and they don't get food stamps because they make $1 more than the cutoff, or they don't get help with childcare because they make that. But in our world, we always go off of stuff before taxes. They don't look at take-home pay. So, and I'm sure all of us could agree on that.
Definitely. So is there an application process that you've created to go along with this?
Yes, I do have application process. I get most of my information from schools and resource centers and stuff like that. I get the information, I send the families home with applications. They fill them back out and they give them to me, and it's just me. I did end up with some help this year, which I'm grateful for. But yeah, so we go through it and we kind of we have chit chats with the families and see what their basic needs are.
That's great. And so I also understand that this program kind of encompasses a secondary portion, being adopting them for the holidays. They first start out with a Thanksgiving meal provided to them, suitable for their family, and then in turn that also moves over to their family for Christmas stuff.
Yeah, and if you take a look at what these families need or want, you would be shocked. Like, one lady wanted a new pillow because she just can't afford it, and her kids needed blankets or socks. It's nothing ginormous. People think that it's this big, elaborate thing that kids want PlayStation 4s and stuff. It's not. They want new toothbrushes and hygiene products and towels and some pots and pans that don't make their food burn constantly.
So tell me how you feel the community could help support you with this program. How could somebody, if they wanted to volunteer time, delivery, or financial donations, how would they get in touch?
They can email me at katiemowery@gmail.com. It's KATTIEMOWERY@gmail. Also, my phone number, 905-1102. Shoot me a text. I have a Facebook page. It's called Adopt a Child for School, which has all the other branches hooked to it. With the time constraint, I would say donations of money or financial support, because with that, then I could actually do the shopping and deliver it ASAP.
Do you need additional drivers?
We do. As of right now, we're helping 60 families for the holidays in general. With that, we have about 45 that are getting help with Thanksgiving. So we're short of just a little bit on the Thanksgiving side right now. And yeah, so if we're able to fill those, I have a map jotted out for, travels, because it takes a lot of miles on my car. So yeah, if you guys are willing to help, I'll put you to work.
Great. Well, Katie, I'd like to thank you for your time. It's certainly appreciated, and I know that my family will be proudly adopting one of these families this year, so thank you so much.
Oh, awesome. You are welcome. Thanks for doing this.
All right, thank you.
Well, we're at the Mount Shasta area newspapers and the Siskiyou Daily News. We're both here at office in Mount Shasta now, and I am the editor of both of the newspapers. I started as a reporter with the Mount Shasta area newspapers in 2008, took a brief break, and then came back as the editor at the Siskiyou Daily News in July of last year, and I took over as editor of both newspapers in March.
Great. And Amy, tell me a little bit about your role here, as it is. I know it's evolved quite a bit.
It has evolved. I am the California regional publisher of all of the newspapers here in Northern California. I actually started 26 years ago in the mailroom, and worked my way up. I've kind of worked in all aspects of the newspaper aside from writing stories, and I just am really loving it.
And with the papers, you've got 3 different publications underneath the Mount Shasta area newspapers, being Weed Press, the Mount Shasta Herald, and Dunsmuir News. Tell me a little bit about how you are able to customize those papers to each individual community.
Well, I work really hard to cover the 3 towns, and of course it's difficult with a smaller staff and such a big geographic area. But we really try to get, all the best news from Mount Shasta, Weed, Dunsmuir, McLeod. Sometimes if we're not able to get to a community function, if people want to take photos and send them to us with some information, I'm very glad to get that in the newspaper. I'm really concerned about covering every town.
Yeah, we can't make it to every event, so if somebody else is at an event, or if you're at an event that you feel is important, if you can take a photo, we can always follow up with an interview afterwards and make sure that gets included in your town paper.
Yes.
And where should they send that?
They can send it directly to me, and I have a couple of email addresses, but I guess the easiest one would be news, N-E-W-S, at mountshastanews.com, and that's mtshastanews.com. And I will follow up. And if you have a story idea, something that you think is really exciting, let me know. And a lot of times I can get a reporter on that for you.
Yeah, we really like to have the best content that will really maximize our engagement with our readers.
So if you think it's important, we will probably think it's important too.
So tell me a little bit about how the Mount Shasta Area News and Siskiyou Daily News are working with the evolution of how news is brought to the general public. We see a lot of instantaneous news, Facebook, apps on your phone that instantly notify you if anything happens. How do you stay relevant, and why is it important to maintain print media?
So I also depend on Facebook and those apps for instantaneous news, but I think what sets a newspaper apart from those types of apps and Facebook is that we really take the time to get all of the information and put it together, and also ensure that it is as accurate as possible. We talk to different sources, and I think although you might have to wait a little bit longer to hear all the details, having them all in one place is really valuable. And having it in print we have it every week in print for you. I know the older generation still very much appreciates having it in print, but we also have it digitally, and we do update our website every day with new content and with breaking news as it happens. But like I said, it might not be rumors. While Facebook is really valuable for a lot of things, you'll know that it's not a rumor if it's on our website. It's been verified and it's from a press release or from a source.
And I also feel that our niche for the local newspaper here is that we are 100% local news. So there's not a lot of things on Facebook about the city council meeting, or there might not be something about a school event that happened. Those are things that we take pride in really covering well, and making sure that, you can see your kids in the paper, you can see t-ball, sporting events, football, whatever in the paper, because we're 100% local. Most of those other apps that you get the instantaneous news are more national based. We're local. Our subscriber base has stayed pretty steady throughout the years. We do have a younger generation that's coming up, and we do offer an exact replica on our website for our e-edition. So
I think that people that like the physical copy can have that, but there's also the e-edition, which you can turn the pages, you can zoom in on articles, you can save photos, you can cut and paste, you can share. It's a pretty cool experience for people that like a Nook or a Kindle. But we also have the physical paper, which you can clip out and put on your refrigerator. And just the part of me that adores newspapers, that's the thing that you can't really get from a digital product, but we do offer that.
And is there an app that they can download for the papers?
So you can just go online to mtshastanews.com or siskiyoudaily.com, and you can put that right on your home screen of your phone, and then it'll be like an app. It's very mobile friendly, and also you can see it on the desktop. So one of the things that's really important to me is to follow in the footsteps of my mentor and the former editor here, Steve Drace. He taught me everything I know, and he basically said we need to cover all angles of everything in our towns and communities. And we don't back candidates, we don't tell people how they should vote, we don't do editorials. It's basically just, I aim to interview every candidate, I aim to cover every issue without
reporting just the facts.
Yes, with any opinion attached, so people can make their own decisions.
I hope that you enjoyed hearing a little bit about the newspapers here in Siskiyou County. We are so fortunate to have our own publication. It is very rare in these smaller communities, and we're very thankful to Gatehouse Media, to our reporters, Sky Kincaid, as well as Danielle, and I know that they've got many, many more, but I think forgetting their names at the moment. Anyhow, I just would like to say thank you. I think that it's a great thing to have print media. It's very, very special. It's very unique. I encourage you all to sign up, get a subscription, show your support. We want to make sure that we can detail all of our kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, and families alike with this paper, and also keeping our news local so that it pertains to us, our community in Siskiyou County. Real news, real people right now. Thank you again.
Hello, Siskiyou County. This is Marilyn Shemansky. I am one of the community journalists for Mount Shasta. This is Monica Zinda, and she is a tile and mosaic contractor. Monica, tell us a little bit about what you're doing on the lodge renovation.
Well, I'm particularly pleased to be involved in this lodge project because I'm really impressed with the way they're going about things. They're using a lot of local contractors and artisans. They're really rescuing an old historic place and making it so useful to the community and to all the travelers that come by here. So it's such a great project, and they've hired me to do a bit of tile work in the hostel building, and now I'm coming back to do a lot more extensive work in some of the back cabins, and I love the commute. Anyway, it's a fascinating project, and it's really interesting what they're doing here. I think people should stop by and check it out.
Thank you, Monica.
So Scraps is our mobile art creation project, and what we do is take high quality art supplies all over the county for people to play and experiment and make their original pieces of art with.
And tell me about the event today.
So today we are doing an adult-themed Scraps event because art is for everyone of all ages, and we are decorating records with stencils and paint, and we're also completing this beautiful mural that we started earlier in the year of Mount Shasta from Mount Shasta City Park.
Rebecca Brown is the president of the Art Council Board. Rebecca, where did you get the inspiration for our art project for today?
I rescued a bunch of records from a dumpster, and we had paint, so here we go.
So here we go. Purpose of repurposing.
Because I can mess up a cord sometimes.
Yeah. Being mindful of how we use our resources, trying to get the most mileage out of the resources that we've created.
Nice.
Fun.
And to have fun. Thank you. Wendy James, yeah. Wendy James is, well, tell us about you, Wendy.
Tell you about me. Well, I am been a Mount Shasta resident for almost 12 years now. I own Shasta Studios as well as Mount Shasta Children's Theater. I have done lots of things at the college, directing and choreographing up there. And my newest venture is the Jefferson Center for the Arts, and that's where we are today. And that's what I'm here talking to you, Marilyn, about this exciting new venture for the community.
Well, I, from the get-go, have been really excited about Jefferson Center of the Arts and this property. Where did you get the inspiration?
Oh my goodness. Well, I grew up in San Francisco, and I come from a long line of performers and artists, and so we were always out and seeing music when I was a child, or going to a museum, or going just gathering as a community, and exploring art and music and things like that. And in Mount Shasta, we don't really have a community center to gather, to experience music, to have arts and plays and anything, that's not, that's kid friendly. The Vets is great and you can go see live music there, but there's no place I can bring my 8-year-old. And so I've always wanted to take an old theater or some building and turn it into what I believe Jefferson Center for the Arts will end up being.
I'm here at the park talking about the Mount Shasta annual Thanksgiving dinner. I am with Dawn Fazan. She is organizing the Thanksgiving dinner. Dawn, can you tell us about the Thanksgiving dinner, please?
Well, it's an annual event that we've been doing here. I've been with the program for about 12 years, but it's actually 30 plus years old. It happens every year, without a hitch. It's just the best community building event in town.
Is it open to everybody in the community?
It's open to everybody who wants to come. We don't turn anybody away unless, you're, dirty or drunk or something like that. But anybody can come. It started out to be just something for the seniors or for people who couldn't afford a meal. But it's grown into a real community event where just people who might live alone, they want to come be with family and friends, they come down here and there's talking and chatter and music playing, and it's just a very festive occasion.
So Dawn, what time does it start and what time does it end?
We serve from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day.
On Thanksgiving Day?
Yes.
And do you still need volunteers?
Oh yeah, we're just beginning to collect the volunteers. There's over 200 volunteers needed to do this. We need people to work on the Saturday before, on the 23rd, to go up to Medford with us, hopefully with a truck and an SUV or a van, because that day we do all the grocery shopping and all the paper goods shopping, and we come back with 3 or 4 trucks loads of stuff. Then on Wednesday, we do the chopping and preparing of all the vegetables that we need. And that's, as you might imagine, is quite a bit of produce to cut up.
How would somebody get in contact with you to volunteer?
There's a website.
Very good.
It's bit.ly/MST, and then smaller case, ANKS 2019.
Very good.
And we also have a volunteer coordinator. His name is Glenn Harvey, and he has a phone number, and he loves to get phone calls. His number is 925-9287.
Other than just the Thanksgiving dinner, what else do you provide?
Oh, well, we give away bags of groceries. Ray's contributes what they can, and then we buy cans during our Medford shopping trip. And on Tuesday, a group from I think it's the Forest Service that works where the fires are, and they're used to setting up big camps. They all come and they stuff sometimes up to 200 bags of groceries that we give away. We send them with the meals that we home deliver as well.
So
Did I
what
tell you about
about, that's good. What about the people who can't make it here?
We'll drive you. We'll pick you up and bring you here.
Whoa!
And also, we will deliver a meal to you if you really can't get out and come to the park. Part of the point of this is community building. So we really want people to come down here and talk to each other. But if you're on Meals on Wheels, for example, or if you're just home and you can't get out, you can call Diane and Dave. Let me give you that. There are 2 numbers for them. 926-3551. That's the home number. And Diane's cell number is 925-5291. And we will make sure you get a meal. We will deliver it to your door.
What a great community building event. Thank you, Dawn.
You're welcome.
This is Tina Taramina, your community reporter for Dunsmuir.
Down in the willow garden, where me and my true love did meet. There we sat a-courting, my love fell off to sleep.
Today is Sunday, November 10th, 2019, and we had volunteers decorate downtown Dunsmuir early this morning. The community garden's set up with wreaths and paintings. There's also photo ops for people to take pictures as Frosty the Snowman or next to a Christmas tree. And everything's much more jolly this time of year, I must say.
Hey, I'm Todd Uhas, the new city manager of Dunsmuir.
And how long have you been here?
I am coming up on 3 months. It feels like I've been here longer. I've been digging into a lot of stuff, but yeah, so 3 months. Learned a lot so far.
What brought you to Dunsmuir?
Well, a number of things. I was living up in Portland, was getting sick of the traffic and wanted something quieter. A big chunk of growing up was on the Canadian border in Caribou, Maine, which reminds me a lot of Dunsmuir, very much, and a lot of evergreens and trout fishing in smaller communities with no stoplights. And, you all know your neighbors, which you don't get in a bigger city. And my city, and this may be too much, but my wife works down in Reading. She finished her PhD, and when you do that, you have to go where your first PhD gig is. We moved down here, got this job, please just punch, and it's been a good move. My commute is about as long, but 45 mile commute takes me 45 minutes, where a 11-mile commute took me an hour each way. So glad to be here.
What kind of things are you working on for the city of Dunsmuir? What are your goals, plans?
Well, it is carrying out the wishes of what City Council has passed in the past. I take direction, and basically City Council is my boss, but in terms of the direction I want to take this city is, our budgets are very slim, and we need to not only, limit our spending here, but there's only so much you can limit spending before you cut services, so we need to figure out a way where we can attract new businesses here. Part of that is trying to attract folks that are often known as lone eagles. Those are people that live in cities where they can work remotely, have six-figure salaries, and can live wherever they want. And, in any city, you've got a number of people that are fed up with it. They want their salaries, but they want to live in an environment like this, and it's attracting those folks. Also, we need to build off what we have here. We've got a great brew pub. We have a number of hotels that serve different types of clients. We've got a high-end hotel that's doing very well. We've got a historic district. Want to capitalize on these assets. We have some great properties like the old theater that is sitting fallow right now. Getting those kind of keystone properties in the hands or with the current owner to get those up and running and useful, so they become attractant for people that want to be up here, not only just in this community, but as an alternative to being in Mount Shasta.
What are some of the financial issues that you're running into coming to a small community such as this with different income levels?
So we have a pretty limited tax base. We have slowly some newer businesses coming into town. We also have some really solid businesses that have been here for a very long time and are very steady and doing very well. But in a community like this, you have a large low-income population, you don't have a lot of high incomes, you have some middle-income folks, and you've got some part-time year residents. So you can pull in a certain amount of tax revenue from property and from sales tax and transient occupant taxes, but you need to be very careful not to put additional burden on those that are pretty close to the edge. So where you need to focus on is creating new revenue or pulling in new businesses into the city that are going to add to the tax base. And it gets back to the same issue of attracting those lone eagles and other folks that want to figure out a way to get into some of the underutilized buildings in town and start businesses. And, but you have to be, if you want to come into this community, you got to be a savvy investor and really do your homework on what it is that the community needs. And, what is the right mix and what are the kind of things that are going to attract people to this community over Mount Shasta or Weed or Wairika. So, and we've got help in the form of Siskiyou Economic Development Corporation. And, also just working with our experts here on and talking to their peers, people here in the community that are doing well and have successful businesses and figuring out what's needed, talking to the community. There's are limited opportunities for big businesses to come in. If you're talking about industrial, we just don't have that kind of land. We could potentially do something like that up at the airport if we had a zoning change, and that gets a little boring if I go into that, but there are potentials to draw bigger employers again up at an airport, like as a FedEx hub or a UPS hub or something to that effect, because we're on I-5, the major corridor from Mexico up to Canada, and there may be a need up here in the mountains before you get into Oregon or you're coming across the border from Oregon for you to have a hub. But in terms of big business, it all depends on your definition of big business. I think the kind of thing we're talking about as a big business that's going to work here in Dunsmuir are 50 employees or less, maybe a little bit bigger, because you need the space for it. And frankly, you've got to have something that businesses see they're going to be able to capitalize on here in the city. And so a larger, corporation industry, I don't see happening. The only place I potentially see that happening is with a compatible use and the right zone change up at the airport.
So when you came in, did you have an agenda in your mind about what you thought you'd be doing here, or did that change after, or?
No, it's been pretty consistent all along. I think the only thing that's changed is getting a real picture of the budget and how tight we are. We're having discussions now in Finance Committee and at City Council where we're getting down to the point where we got to make tough choices. I mean, we got to keep the city running, and we have to figure out what we can cut because we're not able to put any measure to increase, fees of some type until November of next year. And, once you pass something in the November of next year, there's a certain amount of time you need to wait until you can start actually seeing that money come in. So we got a year and a half or more where we have to make do with what we have, assuming that we aren't pulling in some kind of new businesses that are contributing to the tax base. So, but those are things that small towns struggle with, that we're not new, we're not alone.
Hi, I'm Richard Dingus, and this is Dunsmuir Steampunk Festival. This is Arlene, and we have Luann, and these two ladies really helped put this event together. This is our first, and we plan on doing many, many more. We are going to be having a car show later on, and there's going to be more music. And so we're going to be having a pretty festive event for 2 days. So we want to make sure that everybody shows up. A lot of people come here, and we're going to be getting ready for next year, and it's going to be bigger and better. And we have heard nothing but great things from everybody that have been here so far. So we want you all to come back. We want you to be here next year when it's going to be even bigger, better, and it'll be a huge event. So make sure you get here, get your costumes ready. We'll make this a wonderful, wonderful thing for Dunsmuir. Thank you.
This is Tina Taramina reporting from Dunsmuir.
My name is Luna, and I am a Wairika reporter. The Rex Club. Every Thursday night, they host game night with drink specials and games all night long. Don't miss out on the fun. At your local Elks Lodge in Wairika. Bingo! This is Elena Tattersfield here, Wairika reporting, here in Sonoma County, Windsor, California, with the Green Dog Rescue. Colleen here evacuated 80 dogs during the Kincaid fire. Why don't you tell me about that?
Well, we were fortunate because of our connections with the police department and fire department. We got a little bit of a heads up about a half an hour to an hour earlier than most. Started to evacuate to our plan B on Saturday morning, only to discover, so plan A was debunked because that had to be evacuated too. We were en route to our second location and that also was being evacuated. So we had to literally turn around and then come back and discover a plan C. We had the most generous individual up in Hopland, Northeast, that offered his property, so we were able to go up there. Had a barn for the dogs to keep them warm. And we slept out in tents. I had a heck of a crew, I'll tell you. They're on day 9 right now, sleeping and working 24/7, sleeping under in the minus degrees. I swear it was so cold. It was freezing on some nights. But we are now back here. We had a lot of smoke and ash damage, wind damage. The firefighters, I cannot say enough to our first responders, thank you so much. They stopped those fires 1,000 feet from our building. So we are very grateful to be able to have had them here and being astute in what needed to be done in order to save our building. Unfortunately, the smoke damage, as you came in, you could smell the smoke, still smell the smoke. It pretty much ruined everything. It's in the furnishings, it's in the dog beds, the dog blankets, the jackets. You forget how much you need to keep these operations running. Wonderful donations today, and just trying to get back on our feet. It was scary, I'll tell you, those fires were scary.
See, we got a Rescue Ranch Wairika, yes. First round of donations.
Okay. Jackets, sweaters, and...
Yes, jackets, sweaters, bedding, beds. We could use everything at this point in time. We were blessed to make sure all the dogs were safe and sound, and you know, just that was the important thing, is get the babies out. And so they're on their way back here pretty soon, and they'll be able to come back home. And then, I don't know, we may have a fire sale for adoption event some point in time.
Fire sale. I know Giving Tuesday, Black Friday, Black Dog Month.
Black Dog Friday we usually do, but yeah, the Giving Tuesday this year is going to be pretty impressive, I hope. You know, it's lots of groups around this area that are going to need some extra assistance, and we among them. So thank you to everybody who supports us and follows us, and thank you to Rescue Ranch. You guys just mean the world to us, so help us get back on our feet.
All right. This is Lena Tattersfield reporting from Windsor, California. Toys for Tots, creating for a cause at Bella's. Story time with Mrs. Claus. And don't forget YMCA Ugly Sweater Run.